concept of American exceptionalism has provided U.S. citizens with a representative form of self-recognition across the centuries. John Winthrop's admonition to his fellow New England colonists is usually cited as the foundational moment of American exceptionalism. We shall be as a city upon a hill. The eyes of all people are upon us. Although Winthrop's stirring words have fostered a tendency to view America in theological terms, America as an elect nation, and Americans a chosen people, American exceptionalism was more decisively shaped by the ideals of the European Enlightenment. The founders imagined the United States as a uniquely free, new nation based on founding documents, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, that attested to its manifest destiny to become the exceptional champion of the universal rights of all humankind. As Daniel Bell has argued, from the start, Americans have believed that destiny has marked their country as different from others. That the United States is, in Lincoln's marvelous phrase, an almost chosen nation. Prominent 20th century interpreters and exponents of American exceptionalism, Perry Miller, Sack Van Berkovich, Ernest Tufson, Henry Luce, Henry Nash Smith, Seymour Lipset, Perry Miller, have invoked the nation's special religious mission, its limitless space for territorial expansion, its revolutionary origins, and its republican form of government to corroborate the belief that the United States is a special nation with an extraordinary mission to play in human history. Now, the particulars attributed to the term have been said to refer to clusters of absent elements: the absence of feudal hierarchies, class conflicts, a socialist labor party, trade unionism, divisive ideological passions, and present elements, the presence of a predominant middle class, tolerance for diversity, upward mobility, hospitality toward immigrants, a shared constitutional faith, liberal individualism. It putatively set America apart from other national cultures. Although its assumptions have been frequently challenged by the realities of United States history, they proved to be remarkably resilient. As a discourse, American exceptionalism includes a complex assemblage of theological and secular assumptions that solicit belief in the unique nature and purpose of the United States. Despite American exceptionalism standing as an invariant tenet of the national creed, however, accounts of the discourse's content have changed with historical circumstances. Depending upon the period, American exceptionalism has been taken to mean that America is either distinctive, meaning merely different, or unique, meaning anomalous, or exemplary, meaning a moral model for the nations to follow, or exempt from the laws of historical progress, meaning that it is an exception to the laws and rules governing the development of all other nations. The rhetoric of American exceptionalism permeates every period of American history. Alexis de Tocqueville was the first to use the term exceptional to describe the United States and the American people in his classic work, Democracy in America. Jacques Green has traced the idea back to the earliest colonial times, when European Puritans described New England as a New Eden. They referred to the religious experiment rather than the place. But American writers nevertheless celebrated the Puritans' errand into the wilderness as crucial for an understanding of the Redeemer nation's manifest destiny. Albert Weinberg believes that the origins of American expansionism can be tracked to the Louisiana Purchase of 1804. And he showed how a destinarian discourse accompanied 19th century American expansion. John L. O'Sullivan coined the phrase manifest destiny in an editorial he sent to the New York Morning News on 27 December 1845, claiming the United States ownership of Oregon Territory in a dispute with the British. And that claim is by the right of our manifest destiny to overspread and to possess the whole of the continent which Providence has given us for the development of the great experiment of liberty and federated self-government entrusted. According to Michael Hunt, a belief in American exceptionalism has performed for generations of Americans an essential function of giving order to their vision of the world and defining their place in it. The concept undergirds the rhetoric of nearly every American president, from Washington's farewell address to Barack Obama's 2014 inaugural.
For no one has a greater stake in a peaceful world than its most powerful nation. We will support democracy from Asia to Africa, from the Americas to the Middle East, because our interests and our conscience compel us to act on behalf of those who long for freedom.
Throughout the Cold War, U.S. dominance was sustained through the U.S. representation of itself as an exception to the rules through which it regulated the rest of the global order. But with the dismantling of the Soviet Union and the formation of the European Union, the U.S. lost both its threatening socialist, totalitarian Russian antagonist, as well as its destabilized, dependent European ally. After the historical conditions that had formerly undergirded its assumptions faded into the historical past, a disremembered underside of United States exceptionalism suddenly appeared. With the disappearance of relations that were grounded in the Cold War's macro-political dichotomies, multiple, interconnected, heterogeneous developments emerged into view that were irreducible to such stabilized oppositions. The demands of a newly globalized world order required an understanding of the United States' embeddedness within transnational and transcultural forces, rather than the reaffirmation of its splendid isolation from the rest of the world. Despite transnational historians and American studies scholars' efforts to avoid the pitfalls of nationalism and exceptionalism, however, the campaign rhetoric of U.S. politicians bears vivid witness to the fact that belief in American exceptionalism has not yet let go its tenacious grasp.